So here's the deal. We had to stop because all our equipment was glitching. And when we went back to listen, everything worked fine.
Yeah, but our none of our monitors and stuff were telling us that we were working. I was like, we could be talking to space.
Which would have been interesting.
Yeah. You're pretty used to that, aren't you?
What, talking to space? Yeah, I am. As a matter of fact, you. Yeah, that didn't work out for you, did it?
No, not really. I kind of turned around a bit.
That's what you get for trying to rip on the wife.
I know. I'm just trying to have some fun.
I know. So we should probably get back to the podcast.
Back to the podcast. Heidi.
Thank you, Scott. So, in Exodus 22:18, it says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." That was a commandment by God because he had known what was going on with the dark supernatural forces, and they were using people, and these people were practicing these things, and they were bringing in dark demonic forces. So God was trying to stop all that from infesting the world. So that's why he said that. A lot of people are like, oh, what kind of God would do that? He was trying to stop evil because these people didn't realize what they were practicing was bringing in dark stuff. Yeah. Well, the Puritans, because they lived by everything in the Bible, at least they tried to. And I'm not saying they were all perfect. I didn't know any of them. So weren't they're sort of like the Quakers, like those people in the oatmeal, the Quaker guy, right?
Really?
Yeah.
You're going to do the whole Quakers and compare him to oatmeal.
The Quaker oatmeal. Isn't it called Quaker oatmeal?
Yeah.
I'm not comparing it to oatmeal. I'm just saying they were on there. So that's what kind of people they were. They were oatmeal kind of people. They like
really?
Oatmeal. You know, so anyways.
Wow.
So
you're going to get some mail on this one.
Okay. So anyways, what they did was with all this stuff that Tituba and all them were practicing, legally it was witchcraft. Okay? And they didn't know anything. They didn't know better. I mean, you got to figure we're in 2015 now, and we have so much more knowledge about different avenues.
Yeah, we have more knowledge, but in some respects, we're just as stupid society as it was then with messing around with stuff.
Well, yeah, because people think they're invincible. And they're still opening dark doors.
They have less and less fear of God now than they did then. At least there was a high portion of people that still had a certain amount of fear.
Yeah.
And you just had somebody stand up for what was right, whether it be a Puritan or whatever, stand up and try to do something about it. I'm not saying that these people were all guilty of what they did, but there was a percentage. There was a reason behind it.
Well, the thing was, they totally believed in the supernatural, according to the Bible, okay?
I'm supernatural. The S thing, remember?
Ugh. But they didn't have any knowledge of it, so they were sort of just winging it. Now, the word witch, if you look it up in definition, okay, it's a person who professes or is supposed to practice magic or sorcery. Witchcraft pertains to magic, which is the art of producing a desired result through the use of incantation or other techniques that assure control of supernatural agencies or forces of nature. That's the term. So
a magic show is not really falls underneath the...
Right, because they're not
it's
really...
It's more tricking you and sleight of the eye. So if you say, what about a magician? Somebody who's playing cards and doing that kind of stuff. That's more of...
Right. And the thing is, too, a lot of people...
More of a skill, really. Some guys can really fool you.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you give me the checkbook, how I can make things disappear.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. And then I end up with all this stuff. It reappears. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
But, no, what a lot of New Age people did was they sort of took the word magic and removed the C and put a K, or they added a K to the end of it, just to show that's the particular magic they're speaking of. Not in every aspect, but you're going to see a lot of that. Now, sorcery, which is also in the definition of a witch, is practices or spells that exercise supernatural powers through the aid of evil spirits or black magic. So sorcery is more you're acknowledging that you're dipping into the dark stuff. So it's a little bit different, but a lot of people don't realize that they're reaching dark things.
Now, you hear Tituba, slave, is let go and resold because she confesses. But you wonder the confession, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, somebody sticks something to your head and tells you to confess, and there's a high percentage of people that will say, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, so. She sort of passed the buck, was like, well, that person and that person, and that's what happened. But Bridget Bishop, she was the first to be tried and convicted of witchcraft. She was hanged at Gallows Hall. She refused to admit that she was a witch. So she was accused of casting a spell on Elizabeth Hubbard, Elizabeth Hubbard was dreaming about this black presence, and she said that this black presence wanted her to join forces and that to be ruled by him.
And they had to point the finger at somebody once again. So as this chick might have been very innocent and
well, she was innocent, but
what are you supposed to do she won't say that she's a witch.
Right.
If she says she's a witch, they're going to kill her.
No, they did not kill anybody who confessed, they let live. But anybody who refused to confess and repent, they killed. That's one of the facts.
But by claiming you're a witch, where do you go then?
Yeah, well, that's it. Your life's over anyways. And your family, too.
Yeah.
So, but this Bridget Bishop...
Then they stick you in prison.
Well,
with the dogs.
With the dogs.
You better hope they're potty trained.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to mix their urine with bread and eat it or something.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. Witch cake. So Bridget Bishop, she was like this tavern owner, and I guess she was really provocative, and many people accused her, probably because she wouldn't conform to the Puritan ways, So during the trial, when she looked at any of her accusers, they'd collapse, and only her touch would revive them. Sounds a little dramatic. And we've dealt with so much demonic stuff. The devil doesn't work like that, and evil spirits don't work like that. It's like when
I go in public, babes.
What? People collapse?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, they're like, ooh, change your shirt.
No!
That's what it is.
Changed my shirt last week.
Oh, okay. Then you should be good for another couple weeks. Well,
it's cool outside.
It is.
Yeah, it can handle the, you get the nice wind.
Wisconsin's the new Alaska. So, okay, anyways, ultimately, Bridget Bishop's contradictions and her lying caused her to be condemned because she just couldn't get her story straight.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
That's it. But the thing is that I think she just got so riled up and got so sick of it. And, you know, I've never been on trial, so I don't know. But I think they just pressed her. One priest, he applied hot fat repeatedly to one woman's eyes and her armpits.
Ooh, burn.
And then the pit of her stomach and her thighs, her elbows, and even in her vajayjay. Ew, 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 ew. Yeah.
That's actually torture because, you know the hot fat, oil, whatever. That's basically what it is. That's just going to massively burn you.
Well, she ended up dying in prison from her wounds.
Oh, yeah, probably. In the prisons we're talking about back then would have been stone dungeon type.
Yeah. Cold, nothing.
And so she would have gotten infection and a lot of that. And yeah.
Isn't that
That's
horrible?
Horrible. There's no need to torture anybody.
And see, that's where people start to go off on their own with Bible stuff or with God because they just start getting carried away and doing their own stuff. And that's not at all what God said. So the Puritans were sort of like I said earlier, they're an activist group.
God never has condoned torture of any kind.
No.
Absolutely. You know, when we go throughout the Bible, we see God did have a lot of people killed, a lot of things done, and there was very good reasons for it, but torture was never...
Right.
You know, it's wrong.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, God created us so he can do what he wants, and he has reasons because he knows what's going to happen in the future, and, you know. But, well, anyway, so one of the things the Puritans did was they would strip down the people accused, and they would look for a witch's mark, which was like a raised bump, or that's where the whole wart thing came in, you know. A lot of them are supposed to have had a third nipple.
You said nipple.
You know, in Friends, Chandler had a third nipple. Maybe he was a witch.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's an episode.
I never even heard of that.
They didn't show it, but everybody was chasing around going, he's got a third nipple.
Oh,
yeah, I think Chandler from Friends was a witch.
An odd freckle?
Yep.
Or a mole?
Mm-hmm.
Skin tags? Mm-hmm. Birthmarks? That's just like, you know.
That's normal stuff.
Like everybody.
Yeah.
They're going to have one of those things.
Isn't that gross?
So, I don't have a third nipple, though.
No. That's good. But they would strip them.
Where would it be?
Well, probably in the chest area, because you can't see you have a third nipple on your butt.
They're going to have two on one side, or one on the other, or one right in the middle of the chest, and they're evenly spaced?
I've never seen anybody with
one
a third
on
nipple.
The belly, one on the back of the head, the neck, the earlobe. Where?
We should really make a book of unknown facts, like the dog thing, the nipple. You know, I don't know.
You said nipple again.
Oh, my God. They would strip the accused, and they would shave all their body hair so that no marks could be hidden, and pins were driven into their scars.
Oh.
I know. And all calluses in their areas of skin, it was called pricking a witch. So, just to see if they would bleed. But a callus isn't going to bleed, not usually, you know.
Yeah, no. Depending on how hard you go.
So, I got to share my story.
What? You got a story relating to the, you know.
It's not about skin tags, don't worry.
Oh, it's about the pricking thing?
No. So like I was a little girl. I think I was in grade school, and I used to live in New Hampshire. Well, one time we drove up to Maine to the Salem, not Maine, Massachusetts, to the Salem Witch Museum. And we go in there. We weren't even in there like 5 minutes. And there was a lady there, and she didn't work there. I think she was just there, but she was a local elderly woman. And if anybody knows me, I have like a circle of freckles on my cheek, which through time and through sun has sort of faded a little bit. But through high school and through grade school, I had a very defined dark circle of freckles right on my right cheek. And this lady says to me, she goes, "Oh, young lady, you should be very glad you weren't born in that era. They would have burnt you at the stake." And I'm thinking...
Burning steaks again?
No. Gosh.
What?
I know. No, you know what? And they didn't even burn anybody at the stake either in the Salem witch trials. But what she was saying...
Well, that's all kind of a...
Yeah, that's a fad thing. I mean, like, not
wives'
true.
tale.
Wives' tale. But, so that freaked me out when she said that because, some lady who doesn't know me, and then my dad, of course, being the goofball that he is, he's like, not thinking how much that would have scared a little girl by someone saying that. Then he says, "Oh, you should see her pinkies," because I got these crooked pinkies.
Yeah.
And you put them together, and they go off in their own little... Arr! And so this lady's like,
I'm start wondering about you.
Well, this lady's like, "Oh, yeah, for sure you would have been killed." And I'm thinking, what? Keep moving, lady. Just move along. And wow, that scared me. But then...
Should have kicked her.
But so then I'm thinking, that first of all, that scares any kid. But that really got my mind moving because I knew I wasn't a witch. But interestingly enough, my whole family did practice witchcraft and divination. So I just thought that was a really neat thing, but I didn't know that at the time. But I'm thinking, I started wondering, could I be a witch? Maybe I am from this. And then just her saying that really got me thinking.
Got scared? Got scared,
I
bro?
got a little scared, yeah. But some of the facts, because you were, like I said, no one was actually burnt at a stake. A lot of people think that. But most of the accused were not even from Salem. They were from a neighboring Andover.
Those that were found not guilty, they had to pay money for the jail time. Accused killed family had to pay.
Yeah, they had to pay too.
Always about the money.
Oh, this became a huge political thing.
Let's look up prisons in the 1600s.
Lovely.
Wonderful place to be. What are you paying for?
Concrete slab.
Of course, if it got you out any quicker, I bet you'd be finding money somehow to get out of there.
Oh, yeah.
And people died in prison all the time.
Yeah,
bacteria, rats running around. Horrible.
Well,
Absolutely
every woman who confessed to witchcraft, she lived. But every woman who denied being a witch was hanged. So, and, no witches were burned. They were just killed different ways. But most of them were hanged. But that one man, he was pressed. They pressed him to death, which is just such a horrible thing to think about.
I bet he was feeling a little flat.
Oh, God. Scott, really? Oh. So the executions at Salem were not the first of its kind. On record, before 1692, 12 people were executed for witchcraft in New England.
New England? Is that near Boston?
Boston's in New England, yes.
Yeah. Because I'm from Boston.
Well, there was a lady her name was Alice Young. She was hanged. And 30 years later, her daughter in Massachusetts was hanged.
That's near Boston.
And then 80 people were accused from 1648 to 1663. 13 women and 2 men were killed. So this was going on before the Salem witch trials, but because I think there was such mass hysteria going on in Salem, that's why it got...
Don't Salem kind of embrace all that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really bothers me that they just totally...
You see, there's a lot of things in past history with big events, catastrophic events like this, where now they take that and they're like, hey, look, we're going to have a party and we're going to do this and that. It's like, and what are you celebrating?
Yeah, they're celebrating all the deaths and the darkness.
And the darkness. I mean...
They're making money
sure,
off
there's
it.
some people that were innocent. There's some people that were guilty and all this and whatever. I mean, I see no reason to celebrate it. But what is it about?
Money.
Money.
Oh, yeah.
Always about the money. The money, the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Not the money's evil, the root of it.
The love for money is the root.
Yes.
Yeah. Ouch.
Ouch. Ow.
So, in
Remember
Boston...
E.T.?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Get your finger away from me. You're so weird. You're going to be needing the whole ouch healing thing in a second. Can I go on? Okay. So, Margaret Jones was a midwife. She was found to have such an evil touch that anyone that touched her, anyone that she touched was taken with deafness or vomiting or other violent pains and sicknesses.
I wouldn't take the chance. I wouldn't even touch her.